Gannon. Coach, last week was the first day of practice when we saw you. What's new since then?
We still haven't had a full team practice since I saw you last. We had two of our recent alums get married this weekend, so the entire junior and senior class was gone, which is awesome in its own way. But yeah, we're back to business tomorrow. Best we can be with the temps and the weather. A lot of adjustments this week with we had practice at 6 a.m. this morning, and the humidity was 95%, and the real feel was already over 90. So just a lot of adjustments this week, doing the best we can, just like everybody else around here. So.
Go ahead with questions.
Yeah, how do you begin to navigate that from the standpoint of understanding you got to be smart versus like maybe it's a chance to kind of like, I don't know, face a challenge that's unique?
Yeah, there's a balance point there. There's actually been some really good research and studies that says humidity in some ways, gives you similar stimuli as altitude. At the same time, it's a different cause effect. The cause effect of altitude is not enough oxygen, and the cause effect of humidity is my body's not cooling off, which not ideal. So a lot of it goes from like we were supposed to do a big workout tomorrow, like continuous effort, and so now we're just having to break that up into segments. So we can still get stimulus out of what we're trying to do. It's just we have to think about it through a different mindset. Make sure that we're looking at about 4 minutes of work at a time, and then fairly equal recovery back after that with the humidity as high as it is, just for athlete safety.
What are your objectives at this point in the season? I imagine the heat is going to create a hurdle.
Yeah.
What are you trying to get accomplished, considering that this isn't the point where you need to peak? This is like a build-up.
Right. Yeah. So if you get into my deep science brain, which I'm a big dork, Matt. You have no idea. So we're looking for different stimuli about every 14 days. So the way the body works is, you need to do something approximately every 14 days. Otherwise, you lose the training impact of that. So we have a long run at least once every 14 days. We run fast at least once every 14 days. We're doing tempo or threshold or race work, same thing once every 14 days. At minimum, we're doing that. So what's happened with the weather right now is that we're just having to break those stimuli up. If we run fast and then we use a slower pace as our recovery, we're still able to achieve some of these things, just not the same way we had intended on creating them originally. So tomorrow is supposed to be repeat 2Ks. We're not going to be able to do that tomorrow. So now we're going to be doing more of like repeat 800s. So just by breaking that up, adjusting rest, recovery, we can get similar stimuli. It's not going to be the same. And so what that does then is it makes me rethink about how we write programming for the next week. I program everything out, write this giant map, if you will, over the summer. But what you've learned the longer I've been here and the more years I've coached is that map it's got to be flexible. We've got to be able to make adjustments, whether it's humidity or temperatures or just travel or a wedding or whatever that is. We have to adapt to those things for what our athletes need. It can't be just this set in stone manuscript that I wrote in July that's going to guide our season. So what we do this week is then going to make cause and effect for making changes and adjustments to next week, which is going to be a little bit cooler next week right now, but not ideal. I would rather have 65 or 45 than what we've got going on. So
Do you have a leadership, what's the way to put it? Do you delegate to the veteran players in your, I don't know if you call them players, but runners, players, whatever they are, in your program, to help you manage that and to acclimate the younger athletes?
Yeah, so some of it, I mentioned it last week. I mentioned Garmin Clipboard last week. I'm really fortunate. One of my really, really good friends actually works for Garmin, and they developed this app called Clipboard. And we've actually been one of the universities that's been part of the beta program art as well as helping develop the app. In fact, in conversation with him, he straight up told me there's nobody in the world that uses this app better than we do here at Creighton. And I think it's led to some of our success the last couple of years. So it's an app where all of our kids wear Garmin's during their workouts, and it tracks their heart rate, it tracks their cadence, it tracks how fast they're going, it checks all this information for us. And then it doesn't matter where they are, it also pulls the weather data in for us. And so at the end of a workout, that populates to the app, and we're actually able to scroll through and look at every single athlete on there, athlete by athlete, looking who ran well today, who struggled today, all these things on there. But then the nice part is, and this is one of the parts that I said, hey, this part has to be better for the app, is that our athletes are able to actually leave notes. Like, hey, this workout felt really good, this workout was hard, and we can leave notes back then. So when we go back to making those adjustments to our training regimen, training protocols, I literally sit on the Garmin clipboard for an hour every night, going back through everybody's notes, everybody's data for the day, making tweaks and adjustments then for maybe today, but also 2 or 3 weeks from now. So for our freshmen and our sophomores who are getting acclimated to these workouts or schedules and things like that, or even Coach Fayers had the juniors and he went to the wedding, so the juniors and seniors had practice in Illinois the last, Friday, Saturday, Sunday while they were there, gone for the wedding, so they had practice every morning. Like their workout was different, their weather was different, but we're still able to populate and see all that information from what they did there versus what we did here, get an idea of where they are recovery-wise here versus the kids that were still here. So the value of that tool for us, like free Garmin clipboard promo here, like it's incredible, right? You need to get on the payroll there, but I feel really fortunate that we've been able to be part of the development of that, because it's in some ways been the app that's like been designed the way I dreamt it would be. So we have injury tracking in there for our training room. Like there's just lots of things in there that have been really useful for us, and it helps get the freshmen like how should I have felt today, or give feedback on this and that and the other, and understanding and listening to their body and saying, hey, your resting heart rate's 10 beats higher right now than it was 3 weeks ago. You just moved into the freshman dorms, you're not getting enough sleep, training loads changed, nutrition's different because your mom's not cooking for you, and so we can pull that kid aside and say, either that or maybe they're coming down with something. And so we can look at that data, and it's just, it's pretty incredible as far as a tool for us to utilize.
How was that practice back here without some of that upperclassmen leadership?
It was awesome, actually. So, no, that's a great question. So we kind of just looked at it as a great opportunity. So when the NCAA changed the rules, a year ago for report day, we used to have this awesome team camp. We'd be gone for a week, and it gave the chance for our freshmen especially to get to know Coach Fayers and myself outside of practice, because I'm a very different person in practice than I am, in my office or outside of those things. And we just kind of looked at the positive as that, I got to spend a little extra time with them, and they got to know me a little bit more in and out of practice both. And we had a great group of sophomores, both men and women, who did a great job leading the way. And I think also, too, it allowed for us for me especially, to just have a little more individual one-on-one coaching time and attention with a group of kids who maybe get lost in the bunch when everybody comes in at once, and I expect that everybody else knows how to go through the warm-up or the drills or things like that. And to delegate, like Matt just said, incorporating those things. Well, I expect the senior to make sure that the freshman's doing it right, those type of things. But it gave me a little more hands-on, a little more just one-on-one interaction with them. So we just tried to spin it the best we could, and do what we could with it to make it a positive. So, but I'm very excited to have tomorrow with everybody back. So.